And we are live. Hello, Amanda. How you going?
Fabulous. How are you, Avon?
I'm pretty good. A little bit jet lagged, but we'll get over it. And you are watching the Business Octopus. We're here to, I guess, talk about all the things that go on in our community, some of the highlights, some of the points and problems that people have raised, issues we've faced ourselves, and go through like some pointers on how to fix, improve, and just do better all around. Um, I'm also a little bit behind the eight ball because I just changed OS.
This guy's a Mac user now, folks. Woo!
Yeah, whilst OS. So I did that. Like I was in India, changed laptops to from Windows to Mac. So if I seem confused and I'm looking for a button, you'll know why. So that's all good. Um, so yeah, what are we talking about today? Key person risk.
Indeed. Yes. Yes.
So I guess to frame it up, the thing that brought it to our attention is we had a little stuff up. It was me. It happens. You get a little bit busy and you're trying to do everything, and so you don't always put contingencies and things in place. It's sometimes early on it doesn't really matter that much because it's not that big of a risk. Yes, there's a risk that something might fail, but if it fails, maybe the damage isn't as big as what it could be.
Mm-hmm.
And as things get bigger, that risk grows, the damage grows, the outcome of not doing the thing effectively can be far more significant. This example that was really just around our networking group was me being tired as hell from flying all over the world and then not being able to turn up at 6 o'clock in the morning Brisbane time for a meeting. And it happened once, happened twice. Now it's time to do something about it. That's not a problem. Yes, it's a key person risk because I was the failure point,
Yes.
but it was very mild. So the risk or the impact of the risk was someone had to get everybody into another meeting link. So it wasn't like detrimental, but it could have been. Like, what would you think is like a detrimental key person risk?
Well, like okay, if we look at that one as the example, like we solved it.
Mm.
If we had 500 people we had to wrangle,
Mm.
I don't know how you would have solved that effectively.
Mm.
We had 7, 8 people to wrangle in that particular instance. That was
Yeah.
fine. But yeah, once you get to bigger numbers, can you imagine running
Mm.
like a large event and having that particular scenario? Another example is anything to do, just to zoom out a bit, anything to do with the stuff that's in your brain. So not
Mm.
just logins, any system, any process that's in your brain and your team can't find it in an internal system process, SOP, knowledge management system, is a critical point of failure as well. If you're sick, if you're jet lagged, if you're tired, if you sleep in that day and they can't find the solution because it's stuck in your head,
Mm.
that's a major, major issue. And that can play out in so many different scenarios.
Banking.
Oh, good one. Tell me, do you have a banking story? Have you heard a banking story? I can only imagine.
No, well, yes and no. So like we again, this is an early on low impact thing. So
Yeah.
in order to get because we're setting up a company in India,
Nice. Yeah.
one of the things that we had to do is to go and get the bank account set up.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to set up the company, which took
Mm-hmm.
forever. Then you have to set up your GST. Then you have to transfer money. And
Mm-hmm.
then I transferred money from my like net bank account. And then what ended up happening was they're like, oh no, the KYC or the know your customer rendered to me instead of the company name, even though it was the company account.
Got
Then
it.
it's like, we don't accept that. You have to do the transaction. Then we had to open a Combiz account. Then we had to, in order for both directors of the Australian company have to sign. He's here, I'm there. We got to post stuff around the place. So some of these things can be like a real headache, and it just gets worse the more legal it gets. If we're talking about company
100%.
registration, who can deal with the ATO, who can deal with the bank account? Those are real core critical. And in the example we gave before, we had everybody in a WhatsApp group, and we could literally just
Yeah.
go, here's the new link. and then it's 8 people. And what you were saying before about like brand reputation or brand damage, if we've done like hundreds of thousands of dollars in marketing to get 5,000 people into an event, and then the link doesn't work, that is massive waste of money. Even if everybody is already like, committed believers, there'll be a percentage of people who are like first-time customers that then just have a bad experience and go, not much chop, I'm going to go somewhere else. And then the other thing, I guess, is that you've then got this whole exercise to go and rescue the project. And I think if you don't have a battle plan to deal with issues, like you would do so if you had the 5,000 people, you go, what's our backup contingency A, B, or C? How do we reach out to everybody like minutes before and say, hey, new link, or something like that? Whereas you probably wouldn't have that in a 8-person room, because, hey, like you're just trying to figure it out as you go along, and you're going to be a little bit scrappy because it doesn't make sense to create the 20-page battle plan. And so you end up with like a couple of stumblings early on, which I think is a good thing, really, because now you get to break your process.
You do. And you want to try and break things while it's low risk as often as you can, so you can see that scenario planning type thing. And the other thing that just came up for me when you were talking through that story of setting up the company, Avon, I think we often will make assumptions that things should play out a certain way. So that, just using your example, so your personal banking somehow got into, like, wasn't accepted. So I think we make assumptions about how things should play out, whereas maybe especially if you were on a tighter time constraint, maybe you can look into, okay, how is this going to play out ahead of time so that I can have all of my ducks in a row. I know we don't like saying that, but in those type of scenarios, having all of our ducks in a row so that we know as best we can that we're not going to introduce that risk as well.
Yeah, like the legally things can be resolved with things like powers of attorney, or authorized delegates. But that should be part of like your risk mitigation planning. Like if you have a board, and your board should be trying to go, what are all the things that we need to do to mitigate the risk of this bottleneck occurring? And so that might be, once a quarter, you review who are all the signatories on the account, or maybe it's every 6 months or something like that. Or maybe, you need to look at the personal circumstances of everybody involved. Is someone got some legal trouble where they're going to be, some issue that they're going to have to go and deal with, or maybe their health is a concern, or something like that. Then you've got, in terms of the key person risk element, that if you've got an ISO certification, whether that's, 27001 is an IT disaster recovery plan. What would you do if this, and this happened? ISO 9001 has a quality management thing, which would be, what would happen if, someone couldn't do their work and they were a critical task? How fast? And you scenario plan, you go, how fast could you get a new laptop to them? All fully, equipped and laid out and set up ready for them to go. So like on a small scale, I think, you should be trying to put in little elements that help reduce the risk, because it just means that you just run a better process. And it means that if you're not available for the thing, someone else can step in and do it. Even if you don't have a lot of people in your company, it still future-proofs you. So by the time that you hire someone and all of a sudden you've got to step away and do something, like I just spent a couple of weeks almost completely off the grid in another country, different time zone. Business still ran as usual. I think there was 1 or 2 emails and that I like critically had to deal with. I did check, and I attended it. There was one day I did a whole power day of meetings, but outside of that, there was lots of rural visits and touring around the place completely offline. So yeah, look, I think key person risk. How do you identify it? Well, it's probably the person who has that one rare skill, has that one rare qualification. They are the only person that knows how to do that thing. No, so it could be a legal one. It could be a certification thing. Like I know a guy who was a lawyer, owned a lawyer's office, but didn't have a practicing certificate, didn't have a law degree. He was literally like the business manager, but he ran like 3 or 4 lawyers, and he was like, oh man, they are so expensive. And, like then there's delays in payment. It's really hard. Like he was making good money when he was making good money. But at the end of the day, if they all decide to quit and go out on their own, that's it.
Right. He's left with nothing, right? He doesn't even understand the practice that he's selling out to his clients. That's scary.
You have a reasonably good idea, but he legally cannot do a thing. He cannot actually open a single client file and do the work, because there's whole like client privilege stuff. Then he's in breach of security requirements. His business would be toast. Same with like accounting practice. There's heaps of people that go and buy accounting practices, or you can buy dental practices, you can buy medical practices. If you don't know what you're doing, I just don't know.
Look, not an ideal scenario is what we're saying, team, from a key person risk lens.
So another one might be like insurances. So like, like say for example, you've got key person risk, 2 directors. If you've never looked at buy sell insurance, if you're a director, I heard this horror story where these 2 business partners, one died, and then the other one started siphoning the business into another company. And so that what was left to split with the partner was pretty much like rated and had nothing in it.
Oh my God. Wow.
So I have some legal protections. The buy sell insurance would have covered the wife for like legal costs to go and like recover all of the money. Or let's just say another scenario is the surviving spouse or partner of the 2 directors would then gain ownership of their partner's percentage, if it's like 50-50 or whatever. Now you've got a business partner you don't know, you didn't expect, may not have the experience, may try to run everything the way they think it should run, but have no understanding of how to run a business. And even if they tried to sell, there's not enough capital in the business to go and pay them out. Like this person doesn't have the money to buy their shares off them. So buy sell insurance would say, now we can supply release the insurance money to then pay that person out, return the company back to this state, whatever they agree, or what was written in the agreement at the time, and then maybe hire in another manager to help take the slack of that person, and it just provides for a lot more risk reduction, so that the business survives, the people that invested in it, the families or whatever, get the money back out of it, and everything continues to run hunky-dory. So like that's just a key person risk reduction element. But again, you can never avoid it. You can only reduce it.
That's it. And the more you reduce it, the more you're saving yourself pain and suffering down the track.
And financial ruin.
Yes. Yeah. Which we're not about that. We don't want that for anybody at all. No.
Although some people that annoy me. No.
Yeah, look, I mean.
Yeah. Well, I think, that pretty much sums it up. And I think we've covered a lot on that already. I know we could go in a bit more, but we want to keep this one pretty short and sweet today. If you are watching, thank you very much. We appreciate you. Please do, add things in the comments as you watch these episodes. We can always respond to you. We are about to wrap up now, so maybe next time. But if you are watching and you're interested to have a bit more of a closer chat with us, you can join in on the Relevate community. We're running networking events. We ran one in India last week. We are running one in Melbourne coming up later this month. We had our Gold Coast one last week as well. Got another Brisbane one. There'll be a Sydney one coming up in the not too distant future. Yeah. And then maybe even let's see, I'm doing some other travels coming up. So we've got maybe China, Thailand, and the US. I don't think we'll run one in China. Won't have time. Thailand, yes, because we have a staff member there in Bangkok. So we'll try. He's already been working the area. And then we've got one of our team. I'll be running one in the US in collaboration with somebody else from Brisbane. But yeah, we are growing pretty rapidly. We are expanding as fast as we can. Jump in, join a group, and we hope to meet you.
Yeah, absolutely. And what do they need to do, Avon?
Well, they definitely need to be staying classy.
Yeah, they do. Catch you next